Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today into Tenets of the Soul
Okay.
by Todd Fisher.
Cool.
And, you might be out there looking for kind of a shortcut
Yeah.
to understanding this whole complex idea of the soul, identity, consciousness.
Right.
And I think this book is a really interesting blend of like philosophy and self-help.
Yeah.
Fisher kind of comes at it from this unique background. He's a spiritual researcher
Oh,
who
wow.
has spent years like looking at different religions.
Let me just.
And so in this deep dive, we're going to unpack some of the key ideas
Okay.
from Tenets of the Soul and hopefully equip you with a better,
Yeah.
deeper understanding of your own inner world.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
It is.
Really, the
yeah.
book is about like who we are at our core,
Yeah.
how our identities are formed,
Right.
and even how we can manage them.
I like that manage them part.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that struck me was this idea of the soul as an operator and the body as a mechanism.
Okay.
And so the soul, according to Fisher, is this driving force, this energy, right? That wants to exist, wants to learn, wants to become self-aware.
Yeah.
And I kind of visualize it like the captain of a ship
Okay.
navigating the vast ocean of existence.
Wow.
And the body's the vessel
I like that visual.
that allows it to interact with
Yeah.
the world.
That's a great way to visualize it.
Yeah.
This concept actually has roots in this philosophical idea
Okay.
called substance dualism.
Substance dualism.
Yeah, have you heard of that before?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, think of your computer, right?
Yeah.
You have the hardware,
Mm-hmm.
the physical components,
Right.
and then you have the software that makes it work.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the relationship between the body and the soul.
Okay.
And a lot of religions also believe in this idea of an
Yeah.
immortal soul.
Right. That exists.
That exists beyond the
For
physical.
the physical body. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that kind of help us on this journey of self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Fisher introduces these 5 principles
Okay.
of soul construction,
Okay.
which he calls soul, self, chrysalis, multitudes, and metacognizant.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right.
It's like he's giving us a blueprint
Yeah.
for how our inner world is built.
And each principle kind of builds on the previous one,
Yeah.
leading to a deeper understanding of ourselves
Okay.
and our place in the universe.
Right.
It's interesting how he weaves in like modern psychology with these principles as well. Like he goes into different theories of consciousness,
Okay.
including like the idea of the narrative self,
The narrative self.
which is basically the story we create about who we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know how you present yourself differently on social media?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Fisher calls semblance.
Mhm.
And it's all about understanding how those choices
Yeah.
affect your sense of self.
Right.
He distinguishes between personal semblance,
Okay.
how we see ourselves,
Okay.
and social semblance,
Wow.
the image we project to the world,
Yeah.
especially in online spaces.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like we're all curating these online personas.
Right, and that raises the question, like,
Yeah.
how authentic are our online selves?
It does.
Are we really presenting a true reflection of our inner world?
Right.
Or are we crafting these idealized versions of ourselves in this digital dreamscape, as he calls it?
Yeah.
Yeah, are these online interactions revealing something deeper about ourselves?
It's a good question. Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost like we're all actors in this giant online play. And sometimes it's hard to tell where the performance ends
Yeah.
and the real person begins.
Yeah, totally.
But then he also dives into personality as a
Okay.
separate layer of self. It's about our attitudes, how we pay attention, our body language, the way we communicate. It's like the unique flavor that we bring to our interactions.
Right.
And over time, that personality becomes the lens through
Yeah.
which we see others.
And that's interesting because he brings up this paradox in the book.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to assess our own personalities accurately.
Yeah.
But we're constantly judging
Yeah.
the personalities of others.
It's true.
Like, we're more attuned to the external expressions
Yeah.
than to our own internal experience.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And to illustrate this, he uses these examples like the personality spectrum,
Yeah.
like introversion versus extroversion,
Mhm.
sensing versus intuition.
Right, right.
Okay, so let's get to the core of who we are, identity.
Okay.
Fisher argues we all have this dominant sense of self, our
Mhm.
cornerstone identity.
Right?
But here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
He suggests we also contain multitudes.
Multitudes.
I mean, multiple,
Yeah.
potentially fluid identities within us.
So like different versions of ourselves.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's like this kaleidoscope.
Okay.
Each turn reveals a different facet
I like
of
that.
who you are.
Yeah.
This concept of multitudes actually aligns with psychological research on possible selves.
Possible selves.
We envision these different versions of ourselves.
Right. In the future.
Right, yeah.
And that kind of reminds me of like dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah.
Which shows how the self can fragment
Right.
into these distinct personalities.
That's really interesting.
And Fisher suggests that maybe he did.
Yeah.
It's just a more extreme version of a natural human tendency.
Instead of seeing multiple identities as something abnormal,
Right.
we all have this inner cast of characters.
Yeah, well, I like this.
Contributing to who we are.
That's a good way to put it.
And then he takes it a step further with this mind-bending concept of the identity collective.
Okay.
He proposes that our past life identities
Lives, okay.
might be part of this collective shaping our current experiences.
So you're saying like our past lives
Yeah.
are influencing our present.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, this is delving into the realm of reincarnation.
Reincarnation.
Which is a fascinating idea.
It is.
Whether you believe in it or not.
Right, right.
He even points to signs that might suggest past life influence.
Okay, like what?
Like unexplained phobias.
Okay.
Recurring dreams.
Mm-hmm.
A strong sense of intuition.
Okay.
Have you ever felt like you're an old soul?
Yeah, sometimes I do, actually.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think we all have those moments where we feel like maybe we've been here before.
Right, right.
But before we get too carried away with past lives,
Okay.
let's bring it back down to earth for a little bit and talk about cognitive biases.
Cognitive biases, yeah.
These are basically like mental shortcuts our brains use to process information.
Right, they're like little tricks our minds play on us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And while these shortcuts can be helpful for like making quick decisions, it can also lead to errors in thinking.
Right, it's like taking a scenic route instead of the highway.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it can also lead you astray.
You can get lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the book highlights some common biases that we all experience.
It's okay.
Like confirmation bias, for example.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, when we seek out information that supports our existing beliefs, even if it's not necessarily true.
Right.
Then there's the availability heuristic.
Availability heuristic.
Yeah, where we overestimate the likelihood of something happening.
Okay.
Just because we can easily recall examples of it.
Okay.
Like if you see a news story about a plane crash, you might suddenly think that flying is more dangerous than it actually is.
Even though it's statistically very safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he even talks about the framing effect.
Framing
The way information is presented can actually influence our choices.
Okay.
Even if the underlying facts are the same.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, would you be more likely to buy something that's 20% fat or 80% fat-free?
Right.
It's the same product.
Yeah.
Just framed differently.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's all about being aware.
Yes, awareness is key.
Of these biases.
It's not about eliminating them entirely.
Right.
But recognizing when they might be affecting our judgment and decisions.
So be more mindful of how our minds work.
Yeah.
Question your assumptions. Look for different viewpoints.
Exactly.
And be open to changing your mind when new evidence comes along.
That's the key. Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to shift gears a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
And explore some tools for self-discovery?
I'm excited.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So this is where Fisher's discussion of advanced meditational states comes in.
Oh, okay.
He sees these not simply as relaxation techniques,
Right.
but as powerful ways to explore and manage different states of consciousness.
It's like taking your mind to the gym for a workout.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while traditional meditation focuses on calming the mind, these advanced techniques are designed to help you achieve specific goals.
Oh, interesting.
We're talking about things like dream manipulation.
Dream manipulation.
Learning to consciously control your dreams.
And accessing states like inner sanctuary and emotional compass.
Interesting.
He even talks about death meditation.
Death meditation.
Which isn't as morbid as it sounds.
Okay, I was going to say, that sounds a little intense.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are you ready to dive into the specifics?
Yeah, let's do it.
Of these advanced meditational states.
Okay.
Outlined in the book.
I'm ready.
We'll unpack their unique aims and potential benefits,
Okay.
giving you a glimpse into this vast landscape of your own inner world.
I love it. So we're diving into these advanced meditational states. Fisher outlines 10 unique practices. Each one has these specific aims and potential benefits. And he really gets into, like, taking control of your inner world.
They all sound so incredible, but inner sanctuary, that one really jumped out at me. Creating a mental space where you can find peace and recharge no matter what craziness is going on around you, that's powerful.
It is like building your own mental fortress.
Yeah, a fortress of peace and quiet. And it connects to, like, psychological research on stress and resilience, too.
Really?
Yeah. Studies show that having a strong sense of inner peace can protect you from the negative effects of stress.
Wow. So it's not just about, like, feeling good in the moment, but actually equipping yourself to deal with, life's inevitable challenges. I love that.
Exactly.
Speaking of challenges, emotional compass, that one also resonated with me. Learning to navigate your emotions with more awareness and skill, that feels crucial in today's world.
It does. Think of it like developing emotional intelligence.
Okay.
That ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions and the emotions of others.
Right.
This can have a huge impact on your relationships, your career, basically every aspect of your life.
It's like having this inner GPS that guides you through the complex world of feelings.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, I know we touched on death meditation earlier, but I have to admit, I'm still a bit curious. Is it really just about sitting and contemplating your own demise?
Not exactly. While reflecting on our mortality is definitely part of it, death meditation is more about cultivating a deeper appreciation for life. By facing our fear of death, we can free ourselves to live more fully in the present moment.
Oh, that makes sense. It's like that saying, live each day as if it were your last, but with a more, introspective and mindful approach.
Exactly.
Okay. Another one that caught my eye was dream manipulation. I mean, who hasn't wished they could control their dreams, but is that really possible?
Well, the research on lucid dreaming suggests that it is possible to gain some control over our dream experiences. Fisher even mentions this study where researchers were able to communicate with lucid dreamers using external stimuli.
What? Really?
Yeah, pretty mind-blowing.
So you're saying they're like talking to people while they're dreaming?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Dream manipulation sounds amazing, but I'm a bit skeptical. Is it really more than just fun? Can it actually be useful?
You're right to be skeptical. But yeah, it's not just about entertainment. Think about it. It can be a powerful tool for self-discovery and problem-solving. Imagine working through challenging emotions, exploring creative ideas, or even rehearsing for real-life situations, all within the safe space of your dreams.
So it's like having a personal virtual reality simulator where you can experiment and explore without any real-world consequences.
Exactly.
Now, what about this rumination state? I feel like that word usually has like a negative connotation, like dwelling on things too much.
Right.
But here it seems to have a more positive spin.
Exactly. Rumination, when approached with intention, can actually be a valuable tool for deep thinking and problem solving. It's about giving your mind the space and time it needs to process complex information and come up with creative solutions.
So instead of trying to like shut down our thoughts, we can actually harness their power for good.
Interesting. And multipathic thinking. That one sounds intense. It is intense. Multipathic thinking is about tapping into the collective intelligence of your multitudes.
Yeah.
You're essentially allowing different aspects of yourself to collaborate on a problem.
So it's like having this internal think tank where each member brings a unique perspective to the table.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And then metacognizant stasis. Achieving that state of heightened awareness and control over your thoughts and emotions, that seems like the ultimate goal of this whole inner journey.
It is the ultimate goal. But as Fisher points out, it's not something you can just force or achieve overnight. It requires consistent practice, self-awareness, and mastery of the other advanced meditational states. Think of it as a culmination of all your inner work, a state of being where you're truly in the driver's seat of your own mind.
It's like reaching the peak of a mountain after a long and challenging climb.
Exactly.
But what does this perfect self actually look like? Is it about becoming some kind of like enlightened guru, or is it something more relatable and achievable for us everyday folks?
Well, Fisher describes the perfect self as someone who embodies the 5 principles of soul construction. They aren't necessarily perfect in the traditional sense, but in the sense of being fully integrated and aligned with their true nature. They're compassionate, wise, and able to handle life's challenges with grace and resilience.
So it's more about becoming the best version of yourself, the person you were always meant to be. That's inspiring.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Fisher's discussion of cognitive biases. He really goes into a lot of detail about these mental shortcuts. But how can we actually apply this knowledge in our everyday lives?
That's a great question. The key takeaway is to simply become more aware of your own thinking patterns. Notice when you might be jumping to conclusions, making assumptions, or letting your emotions cloud your judgment. And when you catch yourself doing this, try to gently challenge those thoughts and look for alternative perspectives.
So, being a little more curious, a little more skeptical, and a little more open-minded in our approach to the world. And I love how Fisher emphasizes seeking out diverse perspectives. It's so easy to get stuck in our own echo chambers, surrounded by people who think and believe the same things we do.
It's true. Stepping outside our comfort zones and engaging with people who have different backgrounds, experiences, and viewpoints can really challenge our assumptions and help us see the world in new and unexpected ways.
It's like expanding the map of our own minds, opening up to new possibilities and understanding. Okay, before we get too philosophical, let's bring it back to practical applications. What are some concrete things our listeners can do to start incorporating these ideas from Tenets the Soul into their own lives?
A great starting point is simply to pay more attention to your inner world. Notice your thoughts, your emotions, your physical sensations. Observe how they interact and influence each other. And from there, you can start exploring some of the advanced meditational states that resonate with you. Even just a few minutes of daily practice can make a big difference.
It's like starting a new workout routine for your mind.
Exactly.
And just like with physical exercise, consistency is key. I used to think I was just an introvert, but then I realized that in certain situations, I can be quite outgoing. Maybe I'm not just one thing, but a multitude.
I love that.
Right. Now, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question inspired by the book. If you had to sum up your identity in just a few words, what would you say?
That's a powerful question, and it's one that deserves some serious reflection. It's easy to get caught up in our roles and responsibilities, our external labels and achievements, but who are we beyond all of that? What are the core values, beliefs, and experiences that truly shape us?
It's like peeling back the layers of the onion, getting to the heart of what makes us unique and authentic. And that's the beauty of this deep dive. It's not just about absorbing information, but about embarking on a journey of self-discovery that can last far beyond this episode.
Absolutely. Tenets of the Soul provides a framework for understanding our inner world,
Yeah.
but the real exploration happens within each of us. So keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep discovering the amazing complexity of who you are.
One of the things that really stuck with me from Tenets of the Soul was how it emphasizes personal responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about blaming our past
Right.
or our circumstances for our struggles.
No.
It's about, like, it gives us the power
Yeah.
to take control
Of our
in a
innate
world
plan.
and make choices that align with
Yeah.
who we truly want to be.
And that's where that concept of soul construction
Yeah,
becomes really empowering.
it
It
does.
suggests that we're not just passengers
Right.
on this journey of life.
Yeah,
We're active architects,
we are, yeah.
shaping who we become.
Shaping it.
We have the tools and materials,
Yeah.
and it's up to us to build the masterpiece.
To build that master,
great.
our lives.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. It reminds me of what Fisher calls the chrysalis phase.
The chrysalis, right?
Confronting our limiting beliefs
Yeah.
and negative patterns.
Those negative patterns. Yeah.
That's not always easy,
It's not.
but it's essential for growth
It is.
and transformation.
Think of the caterpillar transforming into a butterfly.
Yeah,
It's messy and uncomfortable,
it is.
but it's how the caterpillar reaches its full potential.
That's a good point, yeah.
And that ties back to the idea of multitudes, too.
Okay,
The book really challenges this notion
yeah,
of having one fixed identity.
right.
It suggests we have multiple selves within us,
We do.
each with their own strengths and weaknesses.
So if we contain multitudes, like, how do we manage all these different aspects of ourselves?
That's a great question.
Do we try to suppress some and elevate others?
Right.
Or do we embrace the complexity and find a way to integrate them into, like, a harmonious whole?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And I think Fisher's answer lies in metacognizant stasis. That state of awareness and control
Yeah.
where you can consciously choose
Right.
which parts of yourself to express
At any given moment.
at any given moment. Exactly.
It's like becoming the conductor
It's
of your inner orchestra,
Yeah.
guiding each instrument to create this beautiful symphony.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to put it.
That level of mastery sounds a little daunting,
It does sound daunting.
but it's also incredibly inspiring.
It is inspiring.
It suggests that we have a lot more power over our inner world than we realize.
More than we realize, yeah.
And the beauty of it is that it's ongoing.
It is.
You know, it's a journey.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn.
Always more.
More to explore, more to uncover within ourselves.
It's not about reaching some final destination,
No,
but about embracing the process of growth and evolution.
I love that.
So be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Celebrate your progress.
Yes.
And never stop trying to become the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Well, we've covered so much today.
We have.
But I hope this deep dive into tenets of the soul has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to keep exploring the mysteries of your own inner world.
Your own inner world, yeah, absolutely.
Keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep.
Keep asking those questions. And keep embracing the incredible complexity of who you are.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
On this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.